Jermaine from Chicago, I was just thinking of what may be very cool for the WWE Network to air in the future. A special on the story of the Mega Powers. I believe it would be a compelling story to tell both Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, considering they both started wrestling in the 70s, blew up in popularity in the 80s, the rivalry between them, and even go into their WCW history, and to them reconciling just before Savage passed away. Absolutely. I think they should be doing network specials just like this. I threw one idea out there a few weeks ago on the show. Do a no-holds-barred night on the network. Air the movie with Hulk Hogan and Zeus, and then show some of the segments in the matches from TV that built up their feud in '89. They could do a Mega Powers night, too. Just focus on the Mega Powers storyline. Forget the WCW stuff. What you're describing is almost like a biography on their careers. You could do a biography on Hogan by himself. You could do a biography on Savage by himself, and you can get 2-3 hours out of it. I would just do a special on the Mega Powers storyline, on the pairing, on the breakup, on the matches they had. You could do 2 hours just based on them hooking up as a team for the first time. Savage winning the belt at WrestleMania 4, and then the slow burn of him becoming jealous of Hogan and Elizabeth, the big turn when Savage beat up Hogan, which I just watched on the network. They added a few more Saturday Night's Main Event specials, and one of them was the Main Event special from February of '89 where the Mega Powers wrestled the Twin Towers. And by the way, if you've never seen that match before, or if you have, you may not have noticed, there's one scary/funny moment towards the end of that Mega Powers Twin Towers match. This is after Savage already bailed on Hogan. Hogan's kind of left by himself. He's trying to fight off the two big dudes. And Akeem goes to come off the ropes. But I think what happened is the boss man also hit the ropes at the same time. And so when Akeem hit the ropes, he fell through. And he actually fell to the outside and fell right on his head. And he's a big dude. Akeem was easily 400, maybe even 450 at the time. So a guy falling straight through the ropes, landing right on his head, is pretty frickin' scary. But he was okay. He got up and he was there for the finish and he seemed to be all right. But I don't know that I ever noticed that the first time I saw that all those years ago, but watching it in more recent years, I noticed it, and it's fucking hilarious. Knowing the guy didn't get seriously injured, it's okay to laugh. But yeah, that show is up. That show's up right now on the network, and I just got done watching it. Another thing about it that I never noticed until recently, back on the Saturday Night's Main Event days, they would do this deal where they would go backstage and let's say Jesse Ventura or Mean Gene would be interviewing the heels. They would cut a promo, then they would make their entrance. Then they'd go back to the locker room, and Mean Gene was there with the babyface. So they did the same thing here. They have Mean Gene in the back before the match interviewing Bossman, Akeem, and Slick. And they were called the Twin Towers. Okay, that's number one. But they're talking about how, I think Mean Gene said something about a terrorist attack on the Mega Powers. And I'm like, it's an interesting choice of words. They do their promo. They come to the ring. Now we go to the back, and there's Mean Gene with Hogan and Savage and Liz. And there's some reference in their promo about bringing down the Twin Towers. And I'm like, I'm watching this, and it's so freaking eerie. This was in 1989. This was before even the first attack on the World Trade Center. And just listening to the words in these promos, it's like, holy shit, that's eerie. That's eerie. The angle itself, and the reason I think you could easily do a network special on it is because it's my favorite wrestling angle of all time. That whole, the way it built and the turn they did on that show was just phenomenal, because Elizabeth, who never took bumps, she was this tiny thing, and she took a wicked bump. Savage got thrown out of the ring, and he landed right on top of her. It was great in terms of wow, holy shit, she may have really gotten hurt. And Hogan is now down on his knees, his partner is down, his partner's manager is down, he doesn't know what to do. So instead he decides to focus on Elizabeth. This little tiny woman just got wiped out. Savage wakes up and now he's jealous because Hogan is down and he's putting his hands all over his wife and carries her to the back, and he leaves Savage all by himself. Hogan walks down the aisle carrying this woman, puts her on a gurney, and he goes with the doctors to the back. And what we got was some of the worst acting of all time. He tried. God bless Hulk Hogan, but he tried here. But not the best acting I've ever seen. And then, Elizabeth wakes up. Oh, Randy, you got to go to Randy. And that's when Hogan came back out, and Savage slapped him in the face, and he bailed on him. And then Hogan, of course, ends up winning all by himself. He goes to the back. Now him and Savage have this big, intense, shouting match. And Savage is like, you lust Elizabeth. You guys got me in the back seat this whole time. I'm the champion. I should be number one. Hogan's like, no, you got it all wrong. Try and talk some sense into this guy. And then Savage nails him. And one of the funny things about it is, at the end of the show, they go back to Hulk Hogan in the back. And Mean Gene's going to attempt to get a word with the Hulkster. And he's in a bad way, because Savage really nailed him in the head, right in the side of the face with the title belt. He's got an ice pack on the side of his face. Beefcake is there, of course, Hogan's BFF. And he tries to get a word with Hogan, and Hogan doesn't talk. Instead, I don't know... I don't know what he's doing here, but I swear to God, it looked like Brutus was off camera giving him a blowjob. I swear, because you couldn't see Brutus on camera. Hogan is sitting there, and he's like, I can't even describe it. You just have to go on the network and just watch it. He's groaning. He's moaning and he's groaning, and finally he stands up, and now Hogan is incensed, and he's looking for Savage. And another funny part to this, before the show ended, they show Hogan on a rampage in the back. He's throwing shit. Where's Randy? Where's Randy? And the two guys that he encountered, actually three, one of them is the Anvil, but two of the guys he runs into, and he's like, where is he? And he just grabs them and assaults them. The two guys, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. It's great. It's just fucking awesome. So that's one of the cool things about the network, and if you've never seen that show before... that was really the whole special. They had one more match between DiBiase and Hercules, but it was just filler. The whole point of that special was to break up the Mega Powers and build up to a match at WrestleMania, and that match did big business that year. I think up to that point, it did a huge buy rate. And you got to think, the cable universe back then was a lot smaller, and that show did over 700,000 buys. It did this huge number. It was just so well built. It's my favorite storyline of all time.